This morning I sat outside, as I so often do, and sipped on my coffee now that the weather's gotten beautiful outside. And we have this amazing little hummingbird feeder out there. And it's attracted quite a tremendous amount of hummingbirds this year. And Seattle or Washington is one of the states that apparently gets hummingbirds all year round. I know there's other places that do, but what I've noticed is they've been delightfully getting to know us, and over time have established this rapport that seems to happen, getting to know our voices and getting to know our presence. And as I sit and sip the coffee, what seems to have been realized is that I'm not gonna harm them. I'm not gonna try and intervene in what they're doing. And a couple weeks ago, when I first started doing this, you notice the hesitancy as they come to the feeder. They're eating, but they're watching you, and they're being cautious. And over this time, what seems to have happened is that caution's dropped, and they're being a little more playful, coming a little closer, and almost putting on a little bit of a show for me, which is very cute and very sweet. And as I sat out there this morning thinking and drinking my coffee about how beautiful they were, I also realized that there were no stories going on about what was happening. There were no stories that they were coming to my feeder because I had the best food, or that they were coming to my yard because there was something I needed to see here, that they were bringing some message for it, or they were showing up to show me something. There was no story about it. It just was. It was just beautiful, and it could just be what it was without any minding. I read a message from a YouTube person last night that was so beautifully written and so elegantly worded, and that was the preempt to this video this morning. What the writer had written was that they noticed that there was less and less conversation about my near-death experience, and more conversation about thisness and thatness. And why? When there's others out there that apparently this is all they talk about, this is all they do. Their books are about this, their videos are about this, every day is about their NDE. And I guess my response is just very simply because it's not here. It's not this moment. It's not this now. Everything can point to that date of February 9th, 2008, and I remember it as if it's just now. Every experience that appeared to have happened at that time is as present and as relevant as this is. The touching of this desk, the speaking into this microphone, it's all as real as that. And yet it's gone. It doesn't matter. It never happened. As far as reality goes, it's a thought. It's a thought that's bridged together, forming what we call memory. We like to attribute things. We like to tie things together. We want to attach them in this orchestrated, thought out cause and reality, cause and reaction, cause and outcome way. Just as with the hummingbirds in the feeder, thinking that my getting the correct food is causing more of them to come this year, there's no knowing that to be true. There's no knowing it to be true that the openness is here because Kelly apparently died. There's no knowing it to be true that that was the start or the onset of this openness. It's all thought. So attaching this to that Doesn't even make sense. It's attachment. It is attachment by default, by recognition. If you look at any story of anyone sharing, from the Buddha to the man down the street selling screws, each one of them will share how they got to where they are. The man down the street selling screws will say, my father owned this hardware store and he passed it on to me, and so on and so on. And that's his story of here to there. The Buddha will say he leaned against the Bodhi tree and awakening happened. But he'll share all the things that led up to that. Kelly will share the story of apparently dying, apparently seeing things differently afterwards, and 5 years later, this is here. That's the story. None of them are different or unique or special, and none of them are true, because there is nothing that leads from a here to the there. That requires space and time, which is never present. There's no building up to this, and there's no path of this happening. There's not a progression. There's not steps. There's not X, Y, and Z that you must do before the big one. There's just not. None of that is true. The hummingbirds just came to the feeder. It just happened. Kelly just spoke of this. It just happened. This is not linked to that. So the less speaking of the near-death experience is not because it's not important to me. It's as important to me as any other experience that's apparently happened in my life. But it is not all of what the story is. It's just one of the many experiences that apparently happened. I don't move through life saying that pink is my favorite color and everything must be pink. That would be very painful. There would be an attachment to an outcome for every experience. There's nothing here that can ever say that anything that I point to in a past moment has ever happened. It's all thought. Thoughts, again, streaming together, forming what we call memory. It all just is. And then it isn't. And what's left here, behind the isness and the isn'tness, always has been. There seem to be these things called preferences that arise in and out of this. We've talked about that before. And one of the preferences that seems to be here in the story of Kelly is the lack of any desire to do anything with this. 2 books have been written, and neither one of them are really even about the near-death experience. Certainly they both allude to that. But 6 months ago, those books were sent out for publishers to review. A few inquiries came back, and nothing has been done. There's been no desire here to do anything with that. No push or pull to make anything happen. There also seems to be a preference here in the story of Kelly not to become that person that gets a book published and then every day it's about getting people to buy that book. Doing the tours and promoting the book and all that seems to not be of interest here. And even that's perfect. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. It's all perfectly unfolding, and desires for any of it to come about just aren't here. Even these videos, they just arise. There's nothing here going, I desire to make videos. The thought arises, make a video, and the video is made. There's no pattern or path of how this happens or why it happens or when it happens. There's no desired outcome. There's no expectation. And there's definitely no preference to make everything in this about my near-death experience. It's just not necessary, or to me, horribly to be said maybe, but it's not even that interesting. I don't know, maybe I'm just bored with myself. With the idea of me. She's boring. And that's okay too. Even that's a story. Even that's an idea. So, I don't think I've really said much of anything here. And that's okay too. Much love. Tremendous amount of love. Laughter, joy, hummingbirds, sunshine, spring leading to summer, magnificent smells in the woods and on the trails, walks to the lake, open markets, all of these things, they're all beautiful. They're equally beautiful. There's no need to attach to one thing and make it mine and make it the story of Kelly, when this moment I am the dishwasher and the next moment I am the smeller of flowers. It's all equally dancing among the dance, being danced, ever present, boundless, not mine, not yours. Beautiful life lifing. Let it all in, as if you had a choice. Until next time, sending you much love.